What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Dreamer from GotBetterBeats.com, and we are here again. Honestly, it's a special day because this is really the first video of our beat making series that we're working on. And honestly, the most comments that I got was about making melodies using Scalar. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go through my process and show you guys how I create melodies. I'm gonna start off using simple melodies like single note melodies, like yeah, I call them single note melodies because they're not chords and they're pretty simple and you can kind of really do them by ear. And I'll show you some of the techniques that I use to do it. It's pretty simple. You don't have to have the same VSTs or anything like that. You just need something to be able to make music on because we're focusing on the fundamentals. So make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into it. I'm gonna go through a couple of sounds, and I'm gonna try to see if we can really just find maybe the simplest, maybe 3-note or 4-note melody. And I'm gonna show you how you can actually take that, you can build onto it, you can add chords to it in most cases, and let's do it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I went through a lot of sounds, and honestly, I think I'm just gonna stick with the guitar. Okay, so I'm starting off with the C here. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of came up with just a quick, simple melody with these notes right here. So pretty much C minor, but I'm gonna add just a little bit of rhythm to it. Let me get a tempo going. Okay, so as you can see, I shifted it down to what is it, A? So I started off in the C minor and kind of went down to the A minor. Not a G, I'm sorry. So I'm not as fluent on just, you know, notes. Everything I play, I kind of do it by ear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay that down, and I normally use my keyboard, but this will work for if you click your notes in, if using your QWERTY keyboard to get them in. Honestly, I do it by the sounds, and that's really what helps me. So let's lay this down, and I can show you how a few different ways, a few different tips that you can use to actually make your melody go from a simple melody to almost sounding like, almost sounding like you actually played it out with full chords and, having some riffs and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Okay, so I just went ahead and quantized my notes. And if you don't know what quantizing is, it's pretty much aligning your beats with the grid. That way you can actually keep a steady tempo. In some cases, I don't quantize as tight. I try to keep it loose. That way it seems a little bit more natural. But for this case, I'm just quantizing just because we probably just gonna make something urban, trap, hip hop, something along those lines. Okay, and honestly, it seems like just a standard C minor and a G minor is gonna um go over those the melody. Let me switch over to Anna 2. All right, let's see what we have. Extremely high pitch. We're gonna go with something else. Okay, and as you can see, I'm actually just playing the standard C minor, and I just went down an octave to press the C. So if you do have a keyboard, you can either click this in, or you can actually just play the chords, the C minor, and drop it down an octave as your bass note. And do the same thing with G minor. And and just the simple way that I did that, I may not put that in there, but that's just me just kind of walking up the scale. And let me put this in harmonic minor. If you use Studio One, you can actually use some of these tools to actually learn this. And honestly, when we get to the Scalar 2 portion, it's actually, honestly, Scalar 2 gives you a lot of information on chords and stuff like that. Honestly, I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but we're gonna actually show you some of the tips that I actually like about it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in these chords, and we're gonna keep on building on to this melody. Oh, wow. I hit the wrong notes. Okay. And honestly, this piano is okay, but I want to kind of find something different. I kind of like that. And as you can see, while this is looping, it gives me ideas to mess around with the notes in the scale. And if you're wondering why I keep saying the notes in the scale, it might not be as easy to see, but as you can see, the blue highlights in the notes. This is letting you know what's in your scale. And let me make this just a little bit smaller so that way you can be able to see a little bit more of my screen. So and honestly, as I can tell, some of my notes are actually going outside of the scale. So I guess A sharp is not in this scale, but it would actually work for, the riff that I'm hearing. All right, so what I want to do is I want to speed this up because it's a little slow, so I want to add just a little more, just to keep the rhythm going. And honestly, right now I'm just kind of just playing by ear, just something to kind of make it run. Honestly, you can make a beat without having the riffs and the runs, but I'm just kind of hearing something with the piano. But this piano is a little quiet, so I'm just gonna add a compressor real fast. We'll go with a free compressor from M Compressor, Melda Productions. Okay. All right. So just a little freestyle. Let's see what we can do with it. Okay. The way I'm hearing it is these keys would actually kind of really just kind of dig off into the mix. All right. And if I wanted to add a seventh onto that, it would be there. And this is just a C minor 7. And I'm just adding in the bass notes. I'm dropping the C down and I'm going up a fifth. So that's C and G. Okay, so I'm gonna add in these chords real fast, and we will walk through it. Um, that way, we can actually just go ahead and usher into how we can utilize these chords. And I'm gonna show you a couple tricks that you can do to actually make your beats sound a little more spread out. It doesn't sound, everything won't be so cluttered. So let me add these chords in, and let's get into that. Okay, so because I kind of hear some, let's see what we got. All right, I got to take the scale follow thing off real quick just to move this note because the A sharp is telling me it's not in that minor. So, okay, okay, so it's in this one. So I guess it's a natural minor, not a harmonic or melodic minor. Okay, this was a little late. Okay, so one of the things I want to do is I want to take the bass notes and I want to see how they sound drop down an octave. And the riff notes, I want to see how these sound going up an octave. Let's see. Okay, and I'm taking these notes, which is pretty much the first note in my chord, and I'm taking these up an octave as well. So I want to see what this sounds like. And honestly, I don't know if you can hear it, but it doesn't sound so condensed because when I had all my notes so close together like this, it sounds better being spread out like this. Well, let me play it by itself so you can hear it. And it does add just a little bit more bottom into it, but I'll be able to kind of just, tame that if I need to, if it interferes with my 808. So what we did was so far was we were actually able to start off with this note, this single note melody. See, it doesn't even sound like the same track that we're working on right now. And then I added on these two chords. I doubled up on the C minor right here and moved over to the G minor. I got to get used to my keyboard commands on Studio One. Okay, so I want to maybe invert these chords. Let's see what they sound like with it spread out just a little bit more. No, I don't like the way that sounds. A little too high. I actually like the way this sounds, so I'm gonna invert the the G and the D in the second chord down an octave. So we utilize chords that way, and with the piano, we were actually able to start off with a single note riff, which was everything at the top, and add in those same chords. And keep in mind that these are the same, the base of this, the chord structure is the same two chords that we did up here. So they're 3 note chords with just one bass note an octave down. So we did manipulate it a little bit, and sometimes that gives you a nice sound, like a spread out sound. It kind of gives you like the low end of that bass in the piano and the high end part of the riff, so it kind of fits in the mix a little bit